Melbourne. It's so exciting. Gyms are open. Yoga and Pilates studios are open again. So exciting. We can actually get into a studio space and actually do some more intense physical exercise with equipment. It's fantastic. But for a lot of people, then this might be their first time returning to exercise in a very long time, or actually doing things that, as I said, are more like physically intensive for their bodies. And so we want to be making sure that exercise is working for us rather than triggering headaches and migraines. So today I'm giving you my top tips to help make sure that, as I said, exercise is working to help decrease our headaches and migraines rather than increasing our headaches and migraines. So hi, I'm Dr. Beth, osteopath here at Melbourne Headache Solutions. If you've got any questions or queries in regards to anything headache and migraine related, drop it below. And if you've got anything headache and migraine specifically related to exercise, also drop it below in the comment section and I will certainly get back to you. So exercise, absolutely fantastic for our bodies, but also in regards to decreasing headaches and migraines. It can be used as a prophylactic. So this means that it helps to try to decrease the intensity, frequency, and duration of headaches and migraines ongoing wise. So it helps to try to prevent the next headache and migraine attack from coming. But also particularly for headache sufferers, if you've got a mild to moderate headache, then it can actually help to try to decrease the pain when you're experiencing it. For migraine sufferers, it really depends on the person, whether it's going to help or hinder you. And that I know a lot of migraine sufferers, the thought of actually doing exercise when you're in the middle of a migraine doesn't sound particularly appealing, but for some people they can find it really, really helpful, particularly if they can get onto it in the early phases of a migraine. So if you start to feel the warning signs of a migraine coming, then starting to do something physical can be really quite beneficial. But basically, when it comes time for exercise, what are the things that you're looking to do or not do to help make exercise work for you rather than against you? So as we know, the top 3 joints in the neck are the top headache and migraine producing or contributing or causing joints in our bodies. And so we really want to be mindful of our posture and positioning when we're exercising. So a lot of people, when they go to do exercises, particularly overhead exercises, so anything where they're pushing above or if they're pulling it down, like a lat press, when we've got like Swiss balls and we're doing exercises behind our head, a lot of people start poking their head forwards and they get a lot of strain in through the muscles of their neck, and then they get dysfunctions in through the joints in their neck, and then they wonder why they've got a headache or a migraine after their exercises. So whenever you're exercising, whenever you're doing any kind of exercise, whether you're running, whether you're swimming, whether you're doing weights work, whenever you're doing anything, you want to be mindful of the position of your head. So you want to make sure that your ears are over your shoulders, that you're coming back into a slightly, ever so slightly retracted position, and that everything here feels nice and neutral. Okay, so we don't want to be feeling any strain happening through the neck. If you feel like there is strain happening through your neck, there is, and you are more likely to set off a headache or a migraine. Now, do you need to stop this exercise that you are doing currently? The answer is not necessarily. So try to modify what you're doing. So this might mean that you need to decrease the weight that you're using, or you might need to modify the position that you're in slightly, or it means adjusting in another way that you're doing, okay? So if you still can't get the strain out of your neck, then it means that you might need to stop that exercise and find an alternate exercise, because that exercise might just not be for you. Because a lot of people are going to be new to going back into like a gym setting, a yoga setting, Pilates setting, a different kind of setting like F45 or something like that, then you might just need to work your neck up to these exercises as well. So you might have been fine doing it before, but you might not be fine doing it now. And remember that the weights or the types of exercises that you were great at before, your body will have deconditioned. So again, you might need to build up to doing these exercises or build up to those weights, because we haven't done them in quite a while as well. So remember that and look after your body, look after your muscles, look after your joints. So head positioning. Also, remember your shoulder positioning. So often we see that shoulders creep up towards ears and they stay there, which means that all of these muscles get really tight, really stiff, really sore, and all of these muscles attach into the top 3 joints of the neck here. And so when the muscles here are getting tight, they can contribute to dysfunctions in through the neck here, which again can set off headaches and migraines, which of course is not what we want. So anytime you're doing any kind of exercise, again, running, swimming, weights work, with your yoga, when you're doing your downward dog position, a lot of shoulders end up coming up here as well. When you're doing your Pilates work, a lot of shoulders accidentally end up creeping up here. Make sure that your shoulders are in a nice relaxed position, that they're down away from the ears, and this will again help to mitigate and decrease those headaches and migraines. Clenching in through the jaw as well. A lot of people hold tension in through their jaw, so make sure that your jaw is relaxed. When you're doing exercises, then you also want to make sure that you're not inducing a bias. A lot of people with swimming, particularly something like freestyle, then they always look to the one side when they breathe, always looking to the one side. But this is going to induce dysfunctions in through one side of the neck. You're always going to feel loose on one side of your neck and stuck on the other side of your neck. So make sure that you're looking to both sides when you're swimming. And when you're doing something like breaststroke, make sure that when you're coming up, you're not coming into full extension and doing a whiplash kind of motion. That again, your neck is supported in that kind of position. And again, if you're doing other types of exercises where there might be a bias induced, where you're looking to one side, make sure that you're always looking to both sides so that there's not this bias induced. Same thing if you're doing twisting motions with the rest of your body, that it's equal on both sides, because we don't want to bias throughout the rest of the body either. Okay, so the other things as well is you need adequate hydration, particularly on hot days like we've been having. When it comes time for hydration though, we're not just talking about water. When you do sweat, then you do sweat out electrolytes. So these are your salts. And sometimes if you're just replacing it with water, then it means that you're not actually hydrating yourself. You are just replacing it, as I said, with water, and you can actually dehydrate yourself further. So you're dehydrating your cells. So you need to replace it with both water and electrolytes in order to rehydrate your cells. If your cells are dehydrated, but you're hydrating yourself with water, and as I said, you're dehydrating your cells even further, this means you are more prone to getting a headache or a migraine. So by replenishing yourself with electrolytes and water, then it means that you are less likely to set off a headache and migraine. And this is not just for exercise, this is on hot days as well. So make sure that you're replenishing those electrolytes, because when your cells are dehydrated, they are more likely to fire. Your neurons are more likely to fire, which means you are more prone to getting a headache or a migraine. So that's very important. Now, a lot of headache and migraine sufferers also find that doing ab exercises are really hard, because they're really hard on their neck. They find that their neck is not strong enough to support doing ab exercises. So a really important tip here is that when you're doing ab exercises, so say you're lying down on your back, then you either want to have your head coming up, your head and your body coming up towards your feet, or your feet are up in the air, but not that your head and your feet are up in the air at the same time, okay? The reason why is because doing any kind of ab exercises when you're down on the floor or like down on your back, it's actually very hard on your neck. And most people do not have the neck strength to perform these kind of ab exercises. And when you add your feet up in the air at the same time as your head up in the air, it places an awful lot of strain through your neck, which means that you are more likely to get a headache or a migraine. So to decrease the likelihood of this happening, then you either want to have your head lifting up or your feet lifting up, but not both at the same time, because this means you are more likely to get a headache or a migraine, which, as I said, we don't want to happen. If you're finding that your feet are on the floor and you're lifting your head up and you're doing ab exercises, but you're finding that you're still getting a lot of strain through your neck, which a lot of people still do, then something that you can do is place a pillow, a towel, a rolled up towel, or a rolled up jacket, if you've got that available, underneath your head. This means that your head is lifted up further and it's going to take some strain away from your neck. This does not decrease the intensity of the ab exercise. If anything, it's actually going to make it more intense because you're going to be doing it better, okay? So as I said, if you are finding that ab exercises when you're lying down are still quite challenging on your neck, when your feet are on the floor, then roll something up, put it underneath your head, give your neck some support, because you're not going down onto the floor, you're not doing a head whipping action all of the time. You'll take some of that strain away from your neck and you're less likely to set off a headache or a migraine. So overall, we want to be mindful of ab exercises and support our neck. So not feet up at the same time as your head, and you can always put something under your head to support it when you're doing ab exercises. You want to stay hydrated. You want to be mindful of your head position when you're exercising, particularly with overhead exercises. You want to be mindful of your shoulder position as well. So make sure that they're nice and relaxed. You also want to be making sure that you're nice and relaxed through your jaw, so not clenching. A lot of people as well, when they go back to exercise for the first time, their muscles are quite tight. They are quite sore afterwards because they're actually being activated. So if you're finding this, then using a heat pack to relax the muscles can be very beneficial, okay? And also make sure that you do stretch afterwards, and also for an adequate length of time. So a good stretching session for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And also using things like your foam rollers and your spiky balls on your muscles to help relieve the tension, so that it's not tightening up the muscles which attach into the joints, which can cause dysfunctions, which can set off headaches and migraines. So these are my top tips and tricks to help make exercise work for you rather than against you, now that we've got gyms and studios open. If you've got any questions or queries, please drop them below. I will be more than happy to get back to you. I hope that you found this helpful, and have a wonderful time going back to the gyms and studios, and I hope that you become happy sore, not painful sore going back. Have a fabulous time, and I will catch you next time.